The Vraxian warfront stretched across 3 sectors of scorched planets, shattered moons, and drifting debris fields. Every advanced civilization in the galaxy had sent soldiers to fight. The towering Drake with plasma cannons bristling from their shoulders, the Myrith with their hive-linked minds orchestrating flawless ambushes, the Krillians whose crystalline bodies could pierce the hull of a starship like glass. When defeat loomed, every species followed the same unspoken rule: take what you can carry, leave the rest. That included children. Captain Arya Voss stood on the observation deck of the human evacuation vessel Haven's Light, her gaze fixed on outpost Zephyr, still smoldering and broken from orbital bombardment. The scans came in one by one. 73 life signs, all juveniles, all abandoned. Her hands clenched the rail as her mind raced. "Captain, the Drake Command wants to know why we're lingering near Zephyr," Lieutenant Ramos reported. "They insist the outpost is empty." "Reply that we are conducting rescue operations," Arya said, voice calm but tight with simmering anger. "They claim there's nothing to rescue," Ramos added. Arya didn't respond. She already knew. Then we'll show them there is. The Haven's Light had been dismissed at first by other species as a fragile human vessel, too lightly armed for combat, too slow to face warships. But its engines could outpace most interceptors, and every square meter of the ship had been converted to care for the vulnerable. Humans had insisted on these ships being part of every battle fleet. Now, after 3 years of relentless war, their strategy was becoming painfully clear. The vessel touched down on the scorched landing platform of Outpost Zephyr. Arya led the rescue party personally. The moment the airlock opened, the sounds hit them: soft cries, gasps of terror, scattered wails in a dozen languages. Smoke choked the corridors, dust coated every surface. In the corner of the former officers' mess hall, a small figure crouched, trembling. Lra Kale, a 7-year-old Felinar, her tawny fur streaked with ash and dried tears. Her species, sharp senses now betrayed her. Every distant explosion sounded like it erupted right beside her. Every shadow hid a threat. She held a broken data pad showing a photograph of her mother, a soldier who had left 3 days earlier. "There's no room for you, Lra," her mother's message had said, pressing a hand to her forehead. "Someone will come back for you. The war won't last forever." No one had returned. The Felinar military had already declared Zephyr lost. The cubs left behind were statistical losses: too young to fight, too small to matter, too numerous to save when transports carried supplies and weapons. Lyra's ears twitched at footsteps, heavy boots, not her people's light pads. She pressed herself against the wall, shrinking into herself. "Hey," said a soft voice, in perfect Felinar. Lra looked up to see a human kneeling a few meters away, hands open and empty. "My name is Arya. I'm here to get you out," the human said. Lra hesitated. Humans were strange mammals, barely a century in the galactic community, still dismissed as primitive. Her mother had once called them overly emotional, a weakness in war. "You're not Felinar," Lra whispered. "No," Arya replied. "But right now that doesn't matter. Can you walk with me?" Slowly Lra extended a paw. Arya took it, her hand warm, firm, and unyielding. As they moved through the corridors, Lra saw others. Humans carrying cubs of every species, some too injured to move, some too traumatized, some too small to even comprehend what had happened. A medic tended to a Myrith juvenile with a cracked wing. Another bottle-fed a Drake infant whose tusks had barely emerged. "Why?" Lra asked. "Why do you do this? We're not human." Arya knelt, meeting Lyra's golden eyes. "Because you're children," she said simply. "On Earth we have a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Out here our village stretches across the stars." The Haven's Light was unlike any warship Lra had known. Where other ships had magazines, it had classrooms. Where others had ammunition stores, it had nurseries. The cargo bays had been converted into temporary homes, decorated with drawings and toys sent by families on Earth. Over the following weeks, The vessel gathered abandoned young from 17 battlefronts. Lyra began to grasp what the other species had overlooked. Humans didn't separate children from the value of life. Every military mission included contingencies for them, not just human children, but any child in danger. The galaxy noticed. News networks broadcast images of human ships full of cubs from every race. Drake parents wept tears of joy as their children were returned. Felinaar mothers who had resigned themselves to loss watched in disbelief as humans delivered their children to safety. Even the Myrith Collective, which had calculated that juveniles were statistically inefficient to save, recalculated their priorities. The Krillians, once proud of their logic over emotion, quietly commissioned evacuation vessels modeled after human designs. Captain Arya Voss stood on the bridge as the Haven's light approached Earth Hub Alpha, where families waited to be reunited. Lyra stayed by her side, hesitant to let go. "Will I see my mother again?" Lyra asked softly. "She's been located," Arya said, bringing up a display. "Sanctuary Refuge 12. You'll be there in 2 days." Lyra's tail twitched with excitement, then faltered. "And the others, the ones without families?" "They'll be placed with foster families," Arya replied. "Humans have volunteered, so have Felinaar, Drake, and Myrith, many inspired by what they saw." "Because of you." Arya shook her head. "We just did what was right. Every species here is capable of incredible things. Ships that fold space, weapons that crack planets, shields that stop stars. But the one thing no one can build without care is a future worth living, and that starts with protecting those who will inherit it." As the Haven's light docked and reunification began, something shifted in galactic consciousness. Battles continued, victories were won and lost, but never again would a species abandon its young. Humans had shown that true strength is measured not in firepower, but in who you choose to protect when it's hardest. Lra Kale would grow to become an ambassador, ensuring the protocols Arya Voss established became galactic law. But she would always remember the human who knelt in the ashes of a destroyed outpost, extended a hand, and said words that changed everything. "Your children." Subscribe to the channel to make the stories even more exciting.